Okay, so further contextualizing this, there's if you're brand new to this, and it can be helpful to sort of spot some of the telltale signs that you might be getting capacity planning wrong. Now, clearly, there's lots of different drivers here, so there might be other reasons why these are issues in your business. But if there's a couple of them lighting up, amber or red, it might be pointing to a need for doing this a bit better. So I'm going to go through each of these quickly. Right at the top here, a really big one that we see often with clients is sort of poor control of holiday accrual and absences. Now, so wherever you are in the world, there might be different legislation that guides this and different policies in your business. But generally speaking, one of the big things you want to try to avoid is having a scenario where all of your staff are trying to take time off during your busiest period of the year and sort of depleting the amount of staff that you might have in your business, or sort of running up large amounts of absences. Now that can be because staff are accruing holiday throughout the year and they might get caught at the end of the year if they haven't sort of used it up, or there might be seasonal effects. But we're really trying to guard against this. And if you're seeing this coming up in your business, it might be that we haven't done a good enough job in terms of planning sort of the release of holiday throughout the year. So we'll be talking about that. The second one is somewhat related, which is, if you've basically had a peak demand event, so maybe you've in the run up to Christmas, you've hired lots of staff, or there might be sort of other events throughout the year where you get really busy and you hire in advance of. If you find that you've got large numbers of excess staff after that event, so you've ramped up staffing, but you haven't been able to ramp it down as effectively, that might point to another issue with capacity planning, which is we're not managing our contract mix properly. So we're not making provisions for the fact that these demand events kind of wax and wane, and we might need to look into that in terms of optimizing around there. The third one, this is sort of an indirect metric here, but in terms of your recruitment metrics that are suffering. So when I talk about recruitment metrics, I'm talking about time to fill roles, the actual fill rate by the actual expected date that you've got there, and some other sort of softer things around the quality of the hires that you're bringing in and the sort of talent pool that you can draw on. What we find here is if you're in a very reactionary space where you need to hire staff, when you absolutely desperately need them now and you're not really able to sort of plan further in advance, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on the recruitment team in order to sort of scramble to come up with the staff and the labor that you need for that. So we can help with that by pushing that window out a bit further. And what we'll run into today is how that can actually become a bit of a virtuous cycle and actually improve things throughout the business. Final two, so missing performance targets through understaffing or overstaffing. That's fairly clear. If you don't have enough staff to service the customers that you've got, you're going to be providing a lower quality of service, and we might be missing performance targets on the sales side. On the swing side of that, if we're overstaffing, we can be giving customers the best experience they've ever had, but we might be overspending in terms of labor. So that one's fairly straightforward. And then the fifth one, not finding time for training and development. This is a key one that we see in terms of, one, either having staffing levels so low that you're not able to backfill staff when they're being trained, or not really being able to measure the impact of training and development on productivity, which is really what that activity is in terms of trying to boost our productivity of our staff, which means we can do more with less over time. So these are 5. There may be more. Most definitely will be more, but these are the ones that we sort of see come up day to day when we're speaking to clients.